Lash mapping is really important because people have different shaped eyes and we need to know where to start and where to finish. The industry has come up with different types of lash mapping. There are two basic types that we work from. We work from an open eye lash map, which is where we put the longest lash will always follow where the pupil is, and then we'll go medium and small. The other basic type is a feline lash map, where we work with Leonardo da Vinci's idea of how to draw eyes. If you follow the golden ratio, this is the rule of lash mapping really. He used mathematics and lots of different angles to actually draw an eye. So he'd draw from the nose upwards to where the inner corner of the eye, and then he'd draw from the outer of the nose to the outer of the eye. So for our feline type eye, we're taking a line from the outside corner of the nose and it's going through the pupil, just at the bottom of the pupil, through the iris, and it will come here to where most people's kink is in their brow. From these type of lashes, these basic types, come different styles. So from an open eye look, you can have what's called a dolly look, which means that we're just increasing the length a little bit more up towards the medium and then all the way back down again. From your feline eye, there's quite a few looks from that. You've got the squirrel, you've got the fox, and it just depends what we do after the longer eye. It just means that we're going down in gradients, much smaller gradients. So you might go down in 1 mil gradients and just get that outer flick. It's really important with mapping that we get the right style for the client. If you look at me, I have fairly small eyes. So if I had a feline look on me, it would make my eyes much longer and they'd look much more narrow. I need an open eye look, which means the longest lash is where my pupil is. So I'd work from small, medium to long and back down medium to small. This would open up my eye and make me look awake, which is always a good thing. If, however, you were to map somebody who's got beautiful big blue eyes, if you were to map this lady with a feline look, she'd look sexy, she'd look sultry, she'd have just the right look for her. When you've prepped your client, sat them down, you're going to start your mapping. If you've got to get her to open again, come round to the front, sit up and have a look at the eye, then nightmare. If you stand and look at her eye, look at the client with an open eye, mark on her lid where the pupil is. When she's prepped, you know exactly where she's going to be. What I tend to do, because I'm going to give the eyes a really good clean first, I'll mark on the lid and then I'll map it up to the brow so that I've still got my products there. Eyeliner pencil's perfect for this because it is quite waxy, so it won't come off when you wash the eyes. So always mark where your pupil is. Once you've decided what look you're going to go for, then we're going to map onto the iPad. So clients under iPads are fixed on there, and I tend to use different coloured pens. I will use normally a felt tip pen. A Sharpie, a very fine nib Sharpie is absolutely perfect for this. And I use blue, green and red because when I'm mapping and I'm lashing, I can't see a black pen against the black lashes. So I'll always use a coloured pen. It's really good for that. And if I'm layering as well, so if I'm working with shorter lashes on the front bottom layer, I'll use my blue. If I'm working on the middle layer, I'll use my red and then top layer green. So it's really good to use different colours. The first thing I'm going to do when she's sat up with her eyes open is I'm going to mark on her lid with an eyeliner where her pupil is. So her pupil is around there. Now this eyeliner, the beauty of this is it will dry, so when I wash and clean her lashes, it'll stay on. Okay, under eye pads. Obviously she's very easy to put under eye pads on. When you're doing under eye pads, make sure you don't go too high up the nose, because you don't want that gap between the skin and the nose. It makes it really hard to put your inner corner lashes in. Always push that inner corner. So I need to identify how long the natural lash is. Really easy to do that. All I'm going to do is, this is my longest section here. I'm going to isolate a lash here Now she looks like a 9mm. Take off a 9mm, and I'm going to butt that up against client's skin. I've no glue on it at all, so I'm not hurting her, and she's actually a 9mm. So I can go up to a third longer, which is just under a 12. So let's have a look how a 12 looks. So 12mm, but this time I need to make sure I leave that gap. So 1 to 2mm gap at the bottom. At the top it looks like it's about 2 to 3mm, 2.5mm, absolutely fine. So I know that's going to be a 12mm. Take my Sharpie, write in 12. Remember, the golden rule is always no longer than an 8 in a corner. That's my special lash mapping 8. I do like a 7 because on this client she's got slightly shorter lashes, so I'm not going to do an 8 all the way through. So I'm going to pop a 7 in there. I've got to get from 8 to 12. So easiest way is a 9 on the line or close to it. I divide this section into 10 and the 11 closer to that one. From the 12, I'm going to divide this section here to 11 and 10 and 9. Now, to get a perfect blending, how I'd work this is I'd put probably about 3 or 4 7s on the inner part, and I'd carry them on into the 8 section, but I'd start my 8 section a little bit early in the 7 section, so we've always got the previous lash encroaching into the next section. That's how you get perfect blend all the way through. And that's how I would do lash mapping for an open eye, and it's a safe map, which means the lashes are not too long for the client.